Well, hey, how are you? It's great. It's great to be in Okaloosa County. It's great to be at Northwest Florida State College. I want to thank Dane Eagle, our Secretary of Department of Economic Opportunity, for joining me today for this great announcement. Also, President Stevenson, who's here with us, as well as the Chair of the Board, Lori Kelly. So we appreciate, and I know we've got a lot of dignitaries in the crowd, so I want to thank you all for coming for what's really, I think, going to be a great announcement and a great program. We've been doing a lot, particularly this week, and we'll be doing more the rest of the week to highlight initiatives we're doing to help with job growth in the state of Florida, and that involves, a lot of it involves infrastructure, but a lot of it also involves workforce training. And if you look at Florida and where we are in relation to other states, it's clear where other states really have fallen down over the last year and a half. Florida continues to do better and better. We're proud of the progress we've made. We know that we have even more to be able to accomplish. Part of what I think when you look at the different things that we're offering, and you see a lot of stuff, people will move from different parts of the country, move different types of businesses here. We see a lot, of course, in finance. We see a lot in aerospace, particularly in Cape Canaveral, which is just incredible what's going on there. But I really believe manufacturing, logistics, some of these really core functions where there's huge demand for skilled employees, that what better place to have a lot of this based than in the state of Florida. We have a great business environment. We obviously have no state income tax, and we won't as long as I'm kicking. We're ranked number 3. Education Week just ranked our K through 12 schools number 3 in the country, which is not what it was when I was growing up in Florida. And I know here in Okaloosa they've done a really good job. So you have good education. We have highly rated state college system, as you all know here. And then we have the number 1 ranked public university system in the United States, which we've had now for 5 years in a row. So we're proud of all that. And we obviously think we've got a lot to offer. I think when you look at expanding footprints of things involving manufacturing, logistics, those things are all great if people know that we're committed to not just university education, but vocational education. That is going to end up telling people, you're going to have a lot of people that fill a lot of these important jobs. And I know here at Northwest Florida State College, you have things to help people that want to go into the trucking industry, people be able to operate a lot of these heavy machines, and that's really something that I think is in high demand. And it's not saying that going to a 4-year university, a brick and ivy, is bad. It's good for a lot of people, but it's definitely not necessary for everybody, or even the best course of action for everybody. And you're finding, going into some of these areas like trucking, there's huge demand. I mean, people want, and you can make really good money right out of the gate and never have to go deep into debt like so many other, my generation, everyone would say, if you don't go to college, you're a failure and all that. That's just not true. And so we want to give people the opportunity to fulfill whatever pathway appeals to them, but we certainly don't want to be telling people that going down some of these roads where you have vocational and skills training, and somehow that's like not as good, because in reality, it can be very good, and there's a huge demand. And so you will be able to do well in life. So today's announcement really builds off that insight. It builds off what they've already done at Northwest Florida State College. So we are announcing through my Job Growth Grant Fund, see? How great is the announcement? So we're announcing through the Governor's Job Growth Grant Fund for Northwest Florida State College $2.8 million to fund a new diesel mechanic training program. And so you obviously have a demand for people that operate and will drive, but what we're seeing is commercial diesel vehicles, they have nearly 70% of all freight shipped in the United States is carried by these vehicles. So there's a high demand not only for people to operate the vehicles, but people that can repair and maintain the vehicles. And so here in Okaloosa County, We think there'll be close to a 20% increase in demand over the next 5 years, which is more than the national average because there's so much going on in the state of Florida. And these are jobs here in Okaloosa and Walton. You're making $60,000+ a year if you're doing this type of work. So we think that it's something that builds off what they've already done here at Northwest Florida State College, and I think it's something that's meeting a clear demand and a demand that's not going away. And we're going to be able to provide young people opportunities to be able to go into this and do very, very well for themselves. And so I'm excited about what's been going on in the state of Florida, but particularly Northwest Florida. And I'll tell you, you came here, I remember coming here last summer, and you saw Texas plates, Louisiana plates, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, because people weren't flying as much like last summer in particular, 2020, but they all seemed to end up, in the panhandle somehow. So we're happy that people were able to, we protected a lot of jobs here, we protected a lot of businesses, and people have been able to do very, very well as a result. And the secret is kind of out on the panhandle. Some people didn't necessarily know. I mean, I think more and more, particularly with it being such a destination over the last year and a half, that's going to mean people come visit, they see, then they start getting other ideas. Hey, maybe this is a place I should invest in. Maybe we should move here, all these other things. So I think you're going to see a lot of great stuff coming up in the future. And what we're doing in Florida, our goal is to be #1 in workforce education by 2030. When I became governor, we were in the bottom half of states. We're now doing better and better. This goal is really, really significant. And since 2019, when I became governor, we actually have increased enrollment in post-secondary career and technical education by nearly 50%. So we're proud of that. We've added 50 new apprenticeship programs. That's the thing. It's like learning in this environment is great. It's important, but also you learn on the job. And if you're a senior in high school and there's demand in your community for a certain thing, I want them going their senior year being able to work in the afternoon and developing these skills. And then guess what? If you work hard and you do it, you're going to get offered jobs. And so you'll have that opportunity. And we've also awarded over 15,000 more industry certificates last year than we did in 2019. And so even as COVID hit, it really threw a lot of different stuff for a loop. We said we need to make sure we're continuing to be there for folks. Obviously K-12, we made sure they were open, but just even in these types of things, we kept it going, which is really, really good. So the result is we haven't missed a beat. And in fact, we're continuing to do better and better. And the interesting thing about this, particularly in the high schools with these industry certifications, there'll be kids who will be certified in aircraft maintenance or welding, depending on part of the state and what's offered, but they'll also be taking AP English and stuff. So they have college track too. So it's not mutually exclusive, and then you can make a decision about what's best stuff for you and where you think you want to go. So I think that this is going to be great. I talk to people all the time who are in industry that requires this type of freight and transportation. They want people, and they're willing to pay. And they have to pay because there's a demand for it. So we're really meeting a demand, and I'm excited about what's going on. We're going to continue to, I think, hopefully see a lot of good private sector job growth in Florida. I mean, I'm concerned about some of the things you see coming out of Washington, all the inflation. You see all these problems with the shipping and not being able to get goods. You don't even know if the kids are going to get toys for Christmas. I mean, that's obviously a big problem. We've said our ports, we'll handle it, and we'll make sure we get things out. The gas prices are going up tremendously. That's hurting an awful lot of people. And so we're pushing in the right direction. Those are some headwinds, but I'm confident that if we continue with good policy and we continue to empower folks like here in Northwest Florida State who are really going to help our next generation, I'm confident Florida can beat back some of those headwinds. So we actually usually give a big life-size check. Unfortunately, we left it on the plane, and so, but I am going to have, if you all want to come, maybe we'll just do a picture, all right, and then you can say a few words. And so if you guys want to come here, and maybe I'll just do a thumbs up. And so who's going to take it? You want all the board to come up? Yeah.
I'm one of yours.
I know.
Okay.
Can everyone?
Are we okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
All right, good job. Almost $3 million.
Thank you, Governor. Appreciate it. So we sort of feel like a Jerry Maguire movie. The governor's come and showed us the money, right? And we appreciate it, Governor. On behalf of the entire Northwest Florida State College family, I want to welcome you to the Emerald Coast. I think you'll all agree, this is Ron DeSantis country, right? Come on. And we are deeply honored that you're with us today, and I do appreciate our trustees, our senior leadership that have come here today. We know that it takes partnerships to make good things happen, and this college has a very strong commitment to continuing the pursuit of excellence with our many partners, realizing that it really doesn't matter who gets the credit, just so we make things happen. That's the most important thing. I went back and looked at Executive Order 1931 that you signed on January of 2019, and you did pledge to make Florida the #1 state in the nation in workforce by 2030. And Governor, you challenged us and we responded. And I want you to know, in the last few years, this college has established education programs like you wanted us to do in culinary arts, hospitality management, medical laboratory technician, physical therapist assistant, cybersecurity, construction trades, commercial driver's license, airframe and power plant mechanic with our great partner here, Dr. Paul Hsu. And we've expanded our engineering, technology, and welding programs. In fact, one of our welders is now working with Elon Musk's SpaceX program in welding on the autonomous drone ship, demonstrating clearly that career education can indeed, those skills can indeed be transferable into other sectors. In addition, we've really become more intentional with the measurements of our outcomes and improving efficiencies in our operations with a laser-like focus on student success. You called on the state to create a last-mile scholarship program, and this institution continues your vision through support from our community leaders to assist students who get within 10% of their degree completion to clear any financial hurdles to completion. And we're still doing that today. Also, we're working very closely with our Walton County and Okaloosa County School District officials. It's great to see you today, Superintendent Chambers. And we're raising the expectations of middle and high school students as to the phenomenal opportunities that exist in the world of career education and the pathway to a high-wage, high-demand sector job. We know that business and industry in Northwest Florida is counting on us to provide the education to support the jobs of the 21st century. And Governor DeSantis, with your steadfast support, this new transit technician program extends our commitment to further advance the state's workforce goals with an immediate pathway to employment. We indeed are appreciative of Commissioner Richard Corcoran and the colleagues at the Florida Department of Education who continue to support us in expanding training in those targeted industries. We stand with all of our partners, and many of them are here today, Governor DeSantis, in our commitment to community, workforce, and economic development, with a mission to improve lives of our citizens through high quality, accessible, and affordable workforce education. This program, this transit technician program, is sure to keep the region's economy driving forward. Governor, we're indeed honored to have you here, and we thank you for all that you've done to make great things happen in Northwest Florida and in Florida. Thank you very much.
What an exciting day for the college. As Dr. Stevenson stated, the Transit Technician Program is but one way the college is working to address the workforce needs and position the region for quality growth. As an alumna of Northwest Florida State College, I am keenly aware of the impact we are making on students and their families. Programs like the Transit Technician Program help lift students and families so that they can fulfill their potential, providing positive, long-term impacts for generations to come. We know these career education programs are expensive to launch and to maintain, and it's only through unique community partnerships and grant programs like the Florida Job Growth Grant that we can continue to be innovative and responsive to the needs of our community. With 85% of our students remaining local upon completion of their degrees at our college, this grant directly impacts the economic prosperity of Northwest Florida. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, our students, faculty, and staff, thank you, Governor DeSantis, for this very generous grant.
That's right.
Well, thank you all for being here today. I'm Dane Eagle. I'm the Secretary of the Department of Economic Opportunity. Good to see you, Commissioner. And thank the Governor for his leadership on this issue. The Governor's Job Growth Grant Fund was one of his top priorities this past session. Mel Ponder remembers it well. An issue that we have been driving to make sure that we're attracting all businesses that want to come to Florida to be able to come and invest, and also existing businesses to grow and thrive. We look at infrastructure, we look at workforce training, two areas that businesses need to be able to recruit from the workforce. So this announcement today is crucial in the governor's mission, not only to make Florida one of the most competitive and open for business states in the nation, as he's been doing for so long, but to meet that 2030 goal of workforce education and training. So this announcement today of $2.8 million, that's going to go to the bigger goal, I think, of over $4 million for this program in transit training for diesel technicians. It's also going to support the existing CDL program. And who would have known in this time of this post-pandemic how crucial this would have already been? Logistics and transportation was already a target industry in our state, but now with the supply chain being disrupted, we need it more than ever. And we need it here in Northwest Florida. So that's incredible. It's going to support 500 people going through the program. That's not only going to improve their lives and the lives of their families, but it's going to spread far and wide throughout the community and through the Southeast United States. So that's incredible. I want to thank the Governor for his leadership in pushing this forward and demanding that we come here today to make this grant. And I want to thank your legislative leadership. I was actually in the committees of Chair Williamson and Chair Gaynor yesterday. They're working hard for you in Tallahassee, and I ran into a few of the others as well. But part of my ask was more money for the Governor's Job Growth Grant Fund. So remind them how important it is so that we can come back again and do this. But thank you all, and thank you to the Governor.
And I was listening when President Stevenson was rattling off all the things that they're doing here. And the thing is I literally could say anytime I go out and talk to people who are in business, those are all the things that people are asking about. So they are right on target with what is, number one, going to give the students the most opportunities. I mean, you can train them perfectly. If there's no opportunity as a result of that training, then it's not going to do as well. But they're also really going to end up helping the engine of our economy, because these are the folks, these are the types of things, and it's across a wide variety of different industries. But every single thing that was mentioned is something where if you go through here, go through this program, acquire those skills, do well, you are going to have opportunities. And that's a really, really good thing. At the end of the day, you can go to a four-year university. Our universities here are cheap. We don't let them raise the tuition. And so you can go and you don't have to go deep into debt. And so we're very proud of that. But I also look around the country. Some of these universities, you got to go tens of thousands, if not $100,000 in debt to go through there. And then if your degree's in zombie studies, well, what good does that do? So let's let people know where the opportunities are. Of course, people can make the decisions that they want to make. But boy, when you're focusing on things that have an immediate impact, where you're going to probably have multiple opportunities. I mean, the medical tech, that's huge. All the other things that were mentioned, really, really big. And the fact that you have people going from here to SpaceX, that should show you that this is really going down the right track. So we're honored to be able to be here, help move it along even more. And we're not stopping. I mean, this is another good thing that we're doing. We have more. We're going to do more initiatives in this next legislative session. I did some stuff that is being implemented now from last year's budget. So let's just keep the momentum going. But at the end of the day, this really is going to make a difference. We're also going to we're working on, we'll see hopefully an announcement soon. We're really concerned about these forced vaccine mandates on the workforce. Fact of the matter is, you take in medical with nurses, even if a fraction of them decide that this is not something they want to do and leave, it will absolutely cause a lot of these health systems to hemorrhage. And then you look at all these other companies that do it. And so I know Biden is trying to force this on everybody. One, I think it's your choice. I don't think you should get fired over this issue, and we want to protect people's jobs. But two, it absolutely is going to have a negative impact on the economy if you're causing people to lose these jobs, because then you got to find those folks. You already need more folks, and so why would you want to be doing that going forward? So let's be smart about what we're doing. Let's respect people's. I actually have, is our Surgeon General back there? Yes, our new Surgeon General's back there, Joe Ladapo. Really great guy, obviously very smart, and he's saying, he says to me, forcing this is the worst thing you can do from a health perspective, because it really creates a lot of mistrust and animosity, and it's not the way we're doing it. And in Florida, we want to make sure that people ultimately are in charge of these decisions, and I think that that's the right thing to do. So that's another roadblock that we're going to have to make sure that we protect Florida against. We're working on that. There's a litigation, legislation, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's in the hopper. But suffice it to say, we want to make sure that everybody's job's protected, that people have opportunities here, and we obviously want, if a business wants to expand in Northwest Florida or any part of Florida, we want to make sure that they have quality people that they can go to and hire, and this program here is certainly filling that latter goal. And so I just can't thank you enough. You guys are doing a really good job here. We want to continue to help you out as best we can going forward. But this will, I look forward to checking back in a year or two to see, because I think you're going to see a very good response very, very quickly as you get the program up and get students through it. So God bless everyone for doing it, and we'll be back soon. When I come, I usually have some good news when I end up coming, and so hopefully we'll have some more good news here coming forward. I have some more resources in the current pot of money. And then, of course, next year's legislative session, I know Dane has talked to them about, I think, what did we get, 70 million, 60, 70? 74 last year. This fund, where we work, and colleges apply, municipalities, counties, whoever, and we do infrastructure, job training, all this other stuff. In 2020, because of COVID, I vetoed $1 billion out of the budget, because the budget was done in early March. COVID, everything started going haywire in late March. And then the budget was due July 1st. I told them, hold on to it. Let's see where we're at. And we didn't know what was going to happen with the revenue. So I vetoed $1 billion. I vetoed my own fund in 2020, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know. I had to make sure I was protecting the state against uncertain times. And the good news is that not only did we get that money put back in for this year, and that's part of the distributions that we're making today, but revenue-wise, every single month, it seems, we come in $300, $500, $600 million above the estimates of what we're expecting and that's with no taxes. We still have low taxes, but just because we have so much economic activity that you're seeing. So whereas people thought we were going to have some massive shortage in 2020, massive deficit, we actually have probably the strongest budget reserves we've ever had in the history of the state. And certainly those reserves are growing every single day as we continue to take in more revenue than what even they can forecast in the most recent forecast. And so that's a good sign. I think it's a sign if you can go through COVID like we did. I didn't touch one red cent from the rainy day fund the whole time. We cut when we needed to, but we made sure we protected people's jobs and businesses, and that's ultimately what's led. In August of 2021 in Florida, our hotel revenue was up about 12% compared to August of 2019 pre-COVID. Nationally, August of 2021 compared to 19 was down 5%. So the nation as a whole hasn't even gotten back to pre-COVID. Not only are we back, we're doing better in many respects. And I talk to businesses all the time, including up here in Northwest Florida, and they say, we never thought, when COVID hit, we were just like, man, if we could ever get back to 2019, that was kind of the golden time. And now they're like, not only have we gotten back, we're doing better than we did in 2019. And so let's keep the momentum going. It requires a lot of different hands on deck, but I think this is going to be very, very important. So thanks everybody, and God bless you. All right.
Okay, just an update. Some of the details. Florida has $10 billion in the bank. Not only are all of our bills paid, we are forecasted to have more and more surplus going into the next 2, 3, and 5 years. That's not a forecasted amount. That's how much we have right now. There's also a plan in the works, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a insight here. Dealing with the issue with mandates. Let me fix the camera here. Hold on. All right, there we go. Here's what we're going to do. And this is what's going to make the most sense. Banning and or criminalizing the mandates won't work. What Governor Abbott did in Texas sounds great. And in theory, it's the right way to think about it. But in practice, here's the best way to do it. Say, okay, business, if you want to require mandates, what we're going to do, since the state issues business licenses, we're going to fine you 125% of the wages of the person if you fire them because they don't get vaxxed. And then we're going to then reimburse the person. Meaning one way or the other, the business is going to pay that person. It's just going to be a roundabout way of doing it. See, we're not going to prevent them from doing it. If they want to pay the fines, then let them do it. If they want to pay the fines, that's fine. The people, if you don't want the people in your business or on your property or whatever, not a problem. Florida's just going to fine you. We're going to attach your wages, attach your bank accounts, and pull out 125% of what that person would have been paid. And then we're going to pay that person to stay home. And we're not going to allow any bank to foreclose or, anybody to repossess a car or anything like that. So we're not going to criminalize it. We're not going to issue some edict, some, governor's executive order. That would give the left a whole ton of ammunition to call us hypocrites because we're not big government people. So we'll just make it a financial decision. If they want to pay the fines, let them do it. If they want to pay the fines, not a problem. If they want to work in the red, not a problem. It's a simple fact. It's just, when you get down to where the rubber meets the road, which is about the money, which is what this is all about. And people they kind of shrink back. Oh, it shouldn't always be about the money. Well, it is always about the money. It's just that simple. And I brought this up. I was getting ready to do another video. Better to have a known enemy than a forced ally. Napoleon. Meaning you need businesses to be your ally, but you need them to be your willing ally. You can't, and that's basically the idea of this mandate, is that some of these businesses, and you have to think about it from the business's perspective too. What if you're a business owner? I want you to put yourself in the position of a business owner. And your insurance company says, if you have 100% vaccination, we're going to give you the lowest possible insurance rates. But if you only have 50% vaccinated, we're going to call you high risk and we're going to double your insurance premiums and, you might be canceled. Now, as a business owner, maybe you're against the vaccine. Maybe you're against the mandates. But what do you do? What do? Do you risk losing the business and calling everybody in saying, hey, you know what? I didn't want to mandate the vax, but now I've lost my insurance and state law says I have to have insurance and now I don't have insurance and so we can't operate and so everybody loses their job. Or they raise the insurance rates so high that wages have to get cut, hours have to get cut, prices have to go up. An insurance company can do all of this. So before anyone goes demonizing businesses that are doing this, think about it from their perspective. And what if the worst would happen? What if somebody would get sick? And there was, not a vaccine mandate. They could go jump into civil court and sue. So there's a lot of business owners that they don't want to be involved. Most business owners don't want to be involved in the medical decisions of their employees. They've got too much on, and having been a former business owner myself, I can tell you this, you have too much on your plate. Anyway, you don't want to do this stuff. It doesn't matter what your politics are. There's always a financial consideration. So, Florida, making it a financial consideration, we can't control the insurance industry. We can't control the rates, the actuarial tables. They can charge whatever they want, and virtually every other state in the union, and including Florida, there are laws that say you have to have liability insurance. You have to have workers' compensation insurance. And when those rates go up, the costs of everything go up. Do you think they want to, Fluid Patriot? They don't want to. They don't want to make medical decisions. I mean, it's the last thing you want to do. It's the last thing you want to do is get involved in yet another giant, stupid pot of nonsense when you're running a business. But if you're paying $3,000, $5,000 a month in insurance, and they're saying now it's going to be $7,000 to $9,000 a month in rates, and you may or may not be canceled based on the percentage of people you do or don't have vaccinated, what do you do? What do you do? You call everybody in and have a committee meeting about it? What decision do you make? You say, okay, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm not going to force anybody to be vaccinated. And then you get that notice, your insurance is canceled. Or your insurance is double. You're going to call everybody in, drop them all to minimum wage? You're going to say, yeah, price of everything now. You're going to call all your customers and say, yeah, now it's 30% more than what it has been. I mean, what are you going to do? It's a catch-22. This is why what the governor is going to do is going to take the heat off. One thing that I wish would get added to it is the lifting of the insurance requirement. Well, you see, it hit who in their pocket? Hit who in their? I mean, one way or the other. That's what the point I'm making, Patriot. One way or the other, the person gets hit in the pocket for having done nothing but other the crime of owning a business. If they force mandates and they get the lower insurance rates, then the governor fines them. The state fines them. If they stand by their principles to avoid the governor's fines, then the insurance company hits them. And if you're an independent contractor, that's about, I'll tell you what, I'm glad somebody brought up the word contractor. I am greatly blessed to be able to work from home and be a YouTuber as an independent contractor. And it's, well, if you're in the building, you see, that's the thing, Mad Dog. If you're in the building, the insurance isn't going to say, there's not going to distinguish between whether you're actually employing the person or the contract. Somebody has to pay that insurance. If the contractor's paying his own insurance, he's going to have to go through the same argument. He's going to have to prove to whoever's contracting him that he has insurance. Well, he's going to have the same problem. If I'm vaccinated, I'll have a lower insurance rate. If I'm not vaccinated, I'll have a higher insurance rate. Then based on that, I'll have to charge more or less to the person. You couldn't do it for the same rate. The contractors that would come in would have to be working at wildly different rates. And the risk reward on it just doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up, because what if somebody gets sick and they decide they want to blame you as the business owner because you didn't force mandates, you didn't force vaccines. Somebody gets sick and then they decide they want to go drag you into court and sue. Then what? See, this is the problem with Texas, the way they went about it. With his order, this blanket sweeping order, it's going to get knocked out of court. They're going to knock it over the right field wall. It's not going to stand. Because he's basically making government an enemy of business. And that's just the reality of it. I don't know any other way around this. The difference between that and state employees is that state employees are paid by the people. That's the big difference. That's why the governor can immediately begin fighting school districts. Because they're not in it for profit per se. They are our employees. They take our tax dollars that we earn at private businesses, by the way, and then they use that to operate the schools. They are a function of the people. All right. My opinion, everybody that has got the vaccine, keep your immune system up. You need to put garlic, honey, cinnamon. All right. Well, whatever. So there's going to be a financial cost one way or the other. So the best answer to this is the free market. It's just the free market. And, based on what I've seen from around the country, your best shot's here. Your best shot at making it is here. I don't know where else anybody could look and say, yeah, this is a better financial deal, unless there's some specific situation you're in. If you're the only thing that pops to mind is if you're a coal miner, and you have pick, will travel, there's not many coal mines in Florida. So in that particular case, yeah, work for yourself if you can. Absolutely. Work for yourself if you can. So I know, short bus, shush. But like I said, go back up in the comments, and I'll reiterate this point. Florida is a wonderful, wonderful place to live, but Florida is work. You're going to love going to the beach because it'll be the place you go to collapse and sleep and get a tan. Because you're going to have worked all week, your ass off. The vast majority of Floridians don't take off to the beach unless they live 15 minutes from the beach. They don't go driving off to the beach every weekend. It's not Disneyland or Disney World here. It's work. And it's a lot of work. A lot of the time. And there are people screaming for even more help. But that's in what was being talked about today, was this idea of blue-collar labor making a resurgence in the state. We have a great big service industry. Tourist trap of a state. Well, come and enjoy or don't. But we have all sorts of blue-collar. And now with the space industry, huge announcement, we're going to have all sorts of technical jobs. Every major trucking company in the country has a hub here because of the ports. You see the pictures, and people have swimming pools and all this kind of stuff, and palm trees and all this kind of... People work their ass off for that. There's people that work their ass off up north for their entire lives to be able to afford to buy a little house in Florida and just watch the sun go down or rise wherever they're at. But anyway, somebody had mentioned that Patriot Nurse had coincidentally gone live the same time I did. Wasn't intentional, so. But she put up a video yesterday, I believe it was, where she was at a Dollar Tree or a dollar store up in Knoxville. It looked like a third world country to me. Never seen so many empty shelves. So, yeah, tourism, industry, technology, trucking. I mean, it's Florida's the last stand and an escape to Brazil. You know, that's my plan. If anything would fall apart here, I don't predict it given the financial situation we're in. But I always have a plan B. But I will say this. I don't know if you guys heard about what happened in Norway. But there was a bow and arrow attack that they're calling now terrorism. Is anybody going to ask the question, when is Norway going to have a serious conversation about its bow and arrow problem? I mean, clearly it was an assault bow with a high-capacity quiver with a bump string on it. I mean, Norway really needs to get a grip on its bow and arrow problem. And I mean, and just like, to echo what Biden said, why doesn't everybody just go buy a double barrel slingshot? I mean, don't the Norwegians know they could just defend themselves with a double barreled slingshot? In fact, I wonder if I have those pictures up here. Hold on. I might as well just cover it now, instead of doing a whole nother video. Norway bow and arrow attack appears to be act of terror. Domestic Security Service says follow up violence a risk. You see, these high-powered, clearly military-grade bows need to be for the military only. And Norway needs to really get a grip and have a serious conversation about its assault bow problem. If the first thing you noticed, Cool Man Mike, was the bow, I have some bad news for you. Some of you might remember this meme from a long time ago. So, but no, I mean, no joke. This guy killed 5 people. Killed 5 people and left 2 injured with a bow and arrow. Oh yeah, tracer arrows. Tracer arrows with hollow tips. Meant for only one thing. But I still say the double barrel slingshot. Just like Joe Biden said, walk out on your porch, grab 2 rocks and, send them off into the sky, and that'll scare off any burglar. So, anyway. Timothy Roper. Okay, real quick on the water. The water that they're speaking of, they have at the Fountain of Youth for the tourists, but all of the water in that area of Florida, Clay County, and in through St. Augustine in this region, has a very kind of sulfury taste to it. Very strong. You've got to get used to it. A lot of people have filters and softeners, all this kind of stuff. It takes some getting used to, but there is something to it. I've been here long enough to speak to it. There's a healing property to it. It's not the fountain of immortality, but you will notice different things in your health and in your life that change just by bathing in the water and drinking the water. Skin, hair, teeth, little aches and pains seem to go away. skin tone, eyesight, hearing. And it's not like you can just take a shot of it and, oh wow, I feel better. It's a cumulative thing. It's kind of like taking vitamins and supplements. You have to do it over a long enough period of time to where it just gets into your system. But it's like a year or two. Usually about 6 months to a year, 2 years, you really start to notice it. Like I said, it's not a grand fix for everything. It's not a cure for anything, that's for sure. But this is, I think, what they were trying to relate years ago when they were talking about the Fountain of Youth, that perhaps those Europeans came over here and they had problems and, things that they had been dealing with. And then they came here and they began drinking this water and living here. And then all of a sudden, they started to notice some things just go away. And people were living a lot longer. There's graveyards here that go back 300 and 400 years, where 300 and 400 years people were living 90 years old or more. So, and you can go to the local, St. Augustine's got all sorts of documentation on this. Green Cove Springs, Florida is a really unsung, unheard of, great place to visit if you're into kind of little southern towns that kind of stopped in time. But yeah, as far as living longer, absolutely. I absolutely believe it. So anybody who's been there, they have a fountain that comes up out of the ground, one of these old sulfur springs that they have built a sluice around. Basically looks like a giant well, and the sluice runs over to the city pool. And it's a huge pool. Giant swimming pool. And people have been going there and soaking in this stuff and bathing in this stuff for years, and hundreds of years. And it has a big sign right next to it that has the complete breakdown of all the minerals that are in the water in Green Cove Springs. And it's really neat. It runs out the other side of the pool on a waterfall, and then there's this little stream that goes out to the St. Johns River. So the water comes up out of the well, goes through the sluice into the pool. You can swim in it, whatever. The other side of the pool, there's a waterfall out of the pool, and it goes down to this stream that's got little fish in it. It's perfectly clear water, but once again, sulfur. Very smelly, very stinky. So anyway, but this is probably one of the longest videos that I have ever done, an hour and 47 minutes, I think we're at right now. So Green Cove Springs, Florida, Romans. Green Cove Springs, just like it sounds, Florida. It's in Clay County. It's directly west of St. Augustine, about 35 minutes roughly inland from St. Aug. St. Aug is where the original Fountain of Youth is, but it's that whole region. I'm directly south of St. Augustine in a little town called Palm Coast. So between the triangle, Green Cove Springs, St. Augustine, Palm Coast, that's kind of my little world, Palatka, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, but I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to go check out the Patreon nurse myself, see what she had to say. God bless everyone. Pray for each other. Of course, lift each other up as always. Keep your head on a swivel, and we will see you guys tomorrow.